JK was recently spotted going to the airport, and people are worried about his safety. People believe that JK is upset over something that a reporter might have said to him at the airport. And then we have people begging HYBE to ban V. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci, let's get into it. During a recent live stream, V decided to play a game with the audience, and people were not happy about this game at all. The subject of this game was essentially a music tournament where he would compete 2 songs against each other bracket style and pick the best one. And it's believed that he was trying to build some sort of BTS track list for this. That was going to be part of the tour that they might eventually do. And these are going to be songs that they're going to play because it's going to be just hopefully all the songs that the community loves. There were many songs that apparently V were pitting against each other, and ones that came out victorious were ones that people were not happy about, with many people saying that there's no way that song was going to be better than that song, and they can't believe that V picked that one over the other, whatever it was. And most people in the chat were saying things like he has no idea what he's doing, and they were really upset about that. And this makes sense to me, as if someone ends up picking a bunch of songs that I don't even like or like as much, and they're not my top favorite, but those are the songs that end up making the track list of the concert. I would be pissed if I had to pay money to see a bunch of those songs that are not my top favorite, right? Of course, I like all of BTS's music, but there are, of course, favorites that you're gonna hope to see live. And since going to a BTS concert is such a rare experience because you can't actually get tickets because it's so difficult, people want to go to see their favorite songs. They don't want to waste time or waste that time seeing a song that isn't their top favorite. People were then sort of joking, while some other people were very serious about this idea that V should be banned from making the track list or having any contribution to the track list because they just don't want to see those songs that might not be their favorite on there. And this is interesting. I don't know how many artists actually get the opportunity to sit there and pick some of the songs on their track list. I think a lot of artists have to run that by the label or someone else kind of picking that stuff for them. So it's interesting that the boys get to pick it, and I'm wondering if they're picking songs that they just like to perform, right? The songs that are easiest to perform for them. Many people were saying that V was attempting to rage bait the community before just leaving the live. So essentially setting the place on fire and then just walking out. Now I will say not every song that was picked was a controversial song, right? In fact, it was believed Save Me ultimately won, and that song I think most people will be really happy to hear live, and it's one of the most iconic songs that the boys have ever made. Definitely one of my top favorites. And quite frankly, if I did enjoy concerts, I would probably go to pay just to see that one song even. And it's very interesting because HYBE is probably going to let the boys pick out whatever they want to pick out in terms of the track list. I mean, the company has let the boys have a lot of freedom in recent years, which can be good and bad. Now, all of the boys are very good at what they do and the music that they make. And they make great music. They might not necessarily be great at picking out what the market likes, and I think this is evident by what happens here. And that, of course, would need to be intervened by an executive or a label who is doing market research all the time. Like, that's their job. They would know what's trendy right now and what the community exactly wants. And oftentimes there is this disconnect between what an artist likes and the songs they like versus what the community likes. But these are not the only things that are being talked about, as a lot of people are worried or confused at some of the recent interactions at the airport. So if you're unaware, JK recently traveled to New York, I think to go to the Calvin Klein fashion show because it's currently New York Fashion Week. There was an interviewer that allegedly asked him, I'd say allegedly because it was Korean, and obviously I don't speak Korean, specifically asking him if he's lost any weight because I guess he looked slimmer or something. JK responded to say no, and he gave kind of a cross arm to say no, because I guess if he had said no, no one would be able to hear him because it's so loud there. But the reporter then asked, is that true? Like, with disbelief. This is when the community had an issue with it, because I think people are generally okay with the weight comment, because that's if they've lost weight, it's not necessarily a rude thing and can in fact be a positive thing, right? But questioning it or not believing his answer, that's what's rude, right? It's given that JK obviously has worked out a lot, probably working out a lot prior to even this, especially if he was going to the Calvin Klein fashion show, then he would definitely make sure that his body is in tip-top shape. This would be a very rude question because it would be implying that he has not put in the work that he has put in. And I will say, I can definitely understand where the communities are coming from with that. But of course, I don't necessarily like to just side with the reporter here, but I will say, I don't know if there was a genuine intent of being rude. I don't know if the reporter was even looking at JK when he asked this question. Like, obviously, he was physically looking at JK, but I don't know if he was noticing JK's body, because if you look at the photos and you look at the general content that has come out, JK looks the same. He does not look like he's lost or gained weight. Plus, he's wearing a really oversized hoodie or sweater. I believe personally the reporter was probably just starting a conversation or trying to and wanted to start there. And it's interesting to start there because a lot of people in America are very sensitive about this idea of weight, whether you've lost or not. And if they've lost a lot of weight, then you should not bring that up either. But in Korea, it's not necessarily a rude thing to ask someone about their weight. It's kind of similar to asking if they dyed their hair or something like that. And it's not seen as a big deal. So I don't think JK took that personally, given the fact that him and the rest of the BTS members also talk about weight kind of disposably like that. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I'm going to say. Now, of course, due to his recent appearance at the airport, there's been a lot of conversation about his safety and well-being at the airport, specifically if he was going to be safe leaving the airport with that many people watching him. People are not happy with this idea that there was a huge crowd that was following him, and given JK had two seemingly local security guards with him, as well as his normal security guard that he has, so they were definitely doing a really good job protecting him. I mean, you could see them pushing people out of the way. They're definitely really big guys, so they were able to protect JK very well. With that said, it's not an unheard of claim or worry that people are scared. JK is going to be followed from the airport to wherever he's going. And if we're going to be honest, he's probably going to a hotel. Is he going to be stalked there? Are people going to be following and attacking him over there? Well, that's not happened yet, but again, this is a genuine concern that people have every single time an artist goes to the airport. I will say this again, and I've said this many times before, but I don't believe people are hearing it, so I'm going to say it over and over again, which is this idea that airport appearances are staged, and when they go, they're aware of who's going to be there. I think there's a misconception of airport appearances not being staged, because sometimes an artist will see the crowd, they will see the people who showed up, and then decide to not go through the crowd. And we've had that happen before, where I think it's just Jin that had snuck out through the back door. He saw that it was quite dangerous to go through the front where everyone was because there was too many people. But what's interesting to me is that people have seen that happen, and yet they still believe that there's no possible way that these airport moments are planned. So you're telling me that Jin was able to sneak out through a back door that exists at an airport, and he's able to do that every single time, but he chooses to go through the front? Like, from that action alone, you can tell that it is a choice to go through the front. And the reason being is because it is a press opportunity for them. It's similar to walking a red carpet. It's a good opportunity to get people hyped about new music. It's one of the ways in Korea where getting media coverage doesn't have to revolve around a scandal. In the US, anytime people want to promote something, it might be a good idea to have this big scandal behind it, or like a dating rumor or something like that, whereas you can't do any of that stuff. So the way to get publicity is through the airport. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if some artists go through the airport and have no intention of actually flying anywhere. They're just going to the airport and then an hour later going back to their car and going home. Like, I believe that that is something that some artists have done. With that said, of course, there are protections that are taken when people like BTS or JK go into a car and they're headed to a hotel. The car probably circles the block like 50 times to make sure that no one's following them. They probably take different routes and mix things up to confuse people. And ultimately, they probably look and see that no one is showing up before going into the actual hotel that they're staying at. I mean, these are not tactics that are unheard of, and these are tactics that are widely used with any security. So hopefully no one is too worried, as I think JK will be okay, and I think he will enjoy his time in New York again. So welcome back to New York, as you've been here many times now, and I hope to see you around. I doubt I will run into him, but if I do, I will happily admire from afar. I probably won't say anything. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.